morning, people. Good morning, Africa, wherever you are across the continent of Africa. This is Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting to you from the Republic of Kenya in Mombasa, Kenya, the second capital city of Kenya. Right now in the studios, we have none other than Dr. David Matanga bringing you the African song. Can we play one song before we come in, Miriam? On across, then I introduce my panel. Thank you very much. That is a song from the Democratic Republic of Congo. This television is for Africa, with Africa by Africa. Let's see, let's play. If you have a song across in the continent, you want us to play for you, bring it on. And this is a mood for elections. We want your elections songs. We want you to be part and parcel. On Thursday, we shall be interviewing the gubernatorial candidate for Nairobi, Dr. Kisa, not Kisa Mutui, but the former clerk. He will be live on Punchline Africa TV. He enjoys this type of music. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the studio and send ourselves together. Miriam, that is the way we shall be beginning some of these topics so that most of our people feel the pinch of Africa. Africa is burdened. Africa is burdened with very many difficulties, obstacles that have killed this continent. A continent with vast minerals, vast resources, a continent with plenty of good people, but a continent that complains every day. Good morning, Africa. This is Africa Business, brought to you by Punchline Africa, together with my co-host, senior anchor of Punchline Africa Television, and our senior editor-in-chief also, Miriam Ogoto. Good morning.
Thank you, Doc. A very good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where they're watching us at this day, the 22nd of February 2022. The date is 2/2/2, something like that. So once in a lifetime.
It is strange, Miriam, is 2/2/2/2/2. Today, that is very good for 2022, mwezi ya pili, mwaka ya 22. That is exactly what a Tanzanian would say today, right now, wherever he is in Morogoro, in where they are. Thank you very much, Miriam, across the continent of Africa. We have stories, and also in the CBD of Nairobi, the man himself, Colombo, the man who collects what is supposed to be collected, the man who knows the inside, what is going on with debt, politics, and prices, the man who knows the hashtag, who is doing this hashtag on Africa. Have you noticed that the hashtag is also in Zimbabwe? Who is planning a regime change? I warned the people, I warned the Kenyan government. I told them a long time ago that Musalia Mudavadi is funded by George Soros. This man with me, I think I'm leaving a legacy behind. I'm teaching him how to tackle some international things, how to find information. Daniel Wesonga, good morning.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Dr. Matanga David. Good morning to my colleague, Miriam Ogoto in Nairobi. Good morning to our viewers here in Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa, and the rest of the globe. And of course, a lot has been happening in the economic space and also here in Kenya. And therefore, I do find a bit comical that Kenyans have chosen to pick on this particular hashtag. And coincidentally, you see it also happening in Zimbabwe, where I saw people wearing yellow clothes and attending some kind of a rally due to prices and all that. And here in Kenya, you saw also the people who went out to give a press conference, the members of the Yellow Battalion. So I believe this was a sponsored hashtag, and we know the sources that have been pouring money to sponsor such hashtags here in Kenya and the rest of the continent, as you put it. And these are the agents of the regime change here in Africa, who have been receiving money from United States of America through the Open Society Foundation, Dr. Matsanga.
Don't finish the soup. Don't finish the soup. We are coming. We gave you time for introduction, and the market had all the time for introduction. Introduce yourself, Mr. Colombo. Don't spoil our soup. The soup is going to come. Miriam, back to you in the studio. Take us through. Because if you spoil the soup, people run away having had our main point. Thank you very much. Good morning, Africa.
All right, Doc, yes, indeed. Let me take us quickly through the headlines this morning. They all seem to be running under the same theme. We start with the Star newspaper. The main headline, Uhuru plan to drive Ruto out of Central, and the main pictorial, Kenyans grown under high cost of living, and they're giving a breakdown of some essential products there that have since skyrocketed. And the story is on page 11 on the Star newspaper. And I have evidence on Uhuru murder plot, says Livondo. That also is on page 10 on the Star newspaper. And then we turn our attention to the Standard newspaper. The main headline on the Standard newspaper, Sagana talks turning point for Raila and Ruto. That is on page 6. And Kenyans use social media to demand lower food prices. That is on page 4. Livondo claims he has given evidence to the DCI. That is on page 8. Sabina sues to stop IEBC probe on rigging, claim that is on page 16, and fear rules in ghost town of Samburu. You'll find that on page 34. State owes suppliers 468 billion Kenya shillings. That is on page 40. And then we go on to the Daily Nation, the main headline. The indecisive kingmaker, all eyes on him. He has courted, negotiated, and consulted for months on end, leading his political suitors down a never-ending game of eat, cat and mouse, and generally playing hard to get. But for now, how long can Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is estimated to be worth 2.1 million votes this year, keep raising the stakes? That is on page 4 and 5. And Kenya Kwanza and Azimio clash on high cost of living and runaway debt. That is on page 12 and 13. And up there, just like the rest of the newspapers, what will the poor eat? And price comparison of essential commodities between last year and this year. We've seen all the papers have attempted to give that background. So that is what we have, and all the leading papers here in the country. Doc, back to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa and across in Kenya and capital Nairobi. I am in Mombasa, the second capital city of Kenya, the commercial, the seaport, the land, with the place where the first railway reached on the continent of Africa. There was nowhere in Africa where a railway had been dug. The only place where the colonialists dug the railway, the first railway. I don't know whether our students were listening to this show this morning. Know that the first place on the continent of Africa where the railway was machinery from Europe brought to dig the railway was Mombasa. So Kenyans, you have a lot to be proud about. Kenya has a lot to be proud about. Kenya has a lot to safeguard the interests of the Great Lakes region. But there you are. We have the politics. Our topic today, main topic today is simple. Debt, politics, and prices. We shall try to teach one lesson to Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, who dropped out instead of going for a master's degree in economics. Do you not see that Mudavadi has never proceeded from a smaller 1 degree to a master's degree to learn more about economics? But instead he wants to join a bandwagon of thieves, of corrupt man who spoils his mentality. Even the little that he read about economics, he doesn't know. Every economist in the world, every economist in Kenya, every economist in Uganda will know. Every economist in Britain, we know things are not the same. COVID-19 created a problem. COVID-19 made restrictions. The economies were not working. It is a big fool, a big fat fool actually who can come around and tell people that it was Uhuru Kenyatta who made the economy, the debt go up. That is very bad. He's simply a surveyor, a small surveyor who has joined a land grabber to become a land crusaders. Kenya will be very bad under Mudavadi, under Uhuru, under William Samoei Ruto. It will be very bad because one surveys the land and the other one steals the land. Did you know that? You better know that across the continent of Africa, everywhere. Let's bring the picture from Lagos, Nigeria. One of the countries struggling with the biggest problem of prices and the food shortages is Nigeria. Nigeria is a country with 220 million people. But for you in Kenya to start screaming when you don't know that the international economics works around international oil prices and the prices are regulated. The things that I used to buy in a supermarket in Tesco in London for 100 pounds, Miriam, today if I went to Tesco, I was in London recently. We went with my wife across Tesco. I had not been to Tesco for some time. And she said, you come and see for yourself. When we ask for money, you think we are asking for nothing. Come. Miriam, 100 pounds. 100 pounds of British money. I came out with things when I counted them on the trolley. I could not believe. The prices have gone up everywhere. The only problem that you cannot see riots in London is the proper planning, which Ruto failed the people. Ruto was in government. He should have planned, but instead he swindled. The only ever opportunity, you can't blame Uhuru Kenyatta for him going to borrow money, then he brings it for you to swindle. How much money has been swindled? Look at the projects. Let's look at the projects. Let's read the projects that were swindled. How many projects were swindled? How much cash was swindled? Who was in the matrix? The only thing that Kenyans, instead of them yapping, reducing the price, go everywhere. The prices are reducing, are not reducing. Miriam, tuambiane ukweli. The prices are not reducing because we are ourselves the enemies of ourselves. We are enemies of ourselves. Tuambiane ukweli. Uganda, you can't. You know why Uganda does not have field the pitch? Can I tell you why? It has food. Ugandans grow food. They don't yap. Government, idea. Ugandans don't say, idea, government. No. Ugandans go through a lot of hardships, I want to tell you. But they don't say, idea. They don't ask for money. They don't ask the government, what can you do for us? They ask themselves, what can they do for the government, for the growing situation that we have? So for me, I think the best thing that we can do at the moment, Miriam, is let's look at this holistically. Is it only Kenya suffering? Is it Kenya suffering only? No, it is worldwide. The problem that we have in Kenya is the Kenyans did not prepare themselves for this. There is not sufficient food. For the last 60 years, Kenya has been importing food. Leta tuambiane ukweli, it has been importing food. So can you blame someone who has been importing food for 60 years? And you think there will be a miracle today? When you want to tell people to go and buy fertilizers, Miriam, they eat the money. Which company? Ruto's companies ate the money. Ruto's companies imported food. When they wanted food, they went across in Kenya, in Uganda, and brought food that was not worth it. The maize was caught up in a very big saga. Uhuru behaved as a gentleman, which I don't think Ruto will behave like a gentleman to him. His Excellency must be very careful that the last 6 months that he has, or 5 months, use them effectively, Mr. President, to make sure that you know you will not be having, they will not have mercy on you. Ruto will not have mercy on you. Ruto is a very vengeful, a man with vengeance. He is a man with vengeance. He cannot forgive. He cannot forgive. He has not forgotten. The only thing that he has, you see the way he's treating people like Moses Kuria who don't have brains. He knows very well Moses Kuria came and told him, I was the one who fixed you. But Ruto has used another route to fix Moses Kuria. Despite the fact that he gave him money to build apartments, to build this and that. That is the life we have. Debt in Africa can never be the same. It will never be the same. I submit, therefore, if we are looking at these headlines, if we are looking at the sponsored hashtags, I am going to be more candid in the second reply when Miriam gives me time of sponsored hashtag, which is seen in Zimbabwe, it is seen in South Africa, it is seen in Tanzania now, it is also seen in West Africa with yellow ribbon, yellow people, yellow t-shirts. The only problem where we have no yellow ribbon coming up, but we have red card coming up in Uganda. Uganda is coming up on red card, not on food. Because our food, Miriam, if you go with 10,000 shillings in Kenya and you sit in Kampala, believe me or not, my sister, you will come back when you are very healthy. Because do you know what? You will come back with a balance. There will be a balance. You will only use about 3,000 bob for 2 weeks. 3,000 bob. You will have one bunch of matoke, one bunch of one gege, which is fish, which people like, with granite sauce, with so many things. All of this costs about 3,000 shillings. And you can have one bunch. One person cannot eat one bunch and finish. And that's it. That is the way things. So if we talk about lowering prices, let's also talk about growing more food and being very productive to the government. Thank you.
All right, and we talk about this here all the time when we look at President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, and he did understand the importance of having Kenyans who are full, Kenya which is full, food secure, and I think times without number we have talked about this and we have expressed. And let me just read through some of how one of those newspapers have captured this story. As I've said, all the leading newspapers in Kenya, this happens to be the main story. And that is on page 10 on the Daily Nation. Since 2014, all right, here they're giving a breakdown on how some of these things have gone up. So let me just perhaps look at how the Standard has captured this story and see. Up there, they're putting a human face. So it's a long story, but I want us to get to the point quickly. So prolonged drought, high taxes on farm inputs and fall, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic, have colluded to throw Kenyans into a tailspin of unprecedented high cost of living. This has in turn kicked up a storm on social media, with Kenyans on Twitter calling for the immediate reduction of food prices. You can't have a quick fix in an election year. You will be daydreaming if you expect a quick fix, said Eastern Africa Farmers Federation Chief Executive Stephen Mushiri. But Timothy Njagi, a research fellow with Tegemeo Institute, a think tank, reckons there is an element of noise in the Twitter storm. For the last 10 years, the prices of food products normally shot up between January and May. After May, they start going down, said Dr. Njagi, adding that there is a need for people to rationalize their spending based on this pattern. Food prices have been on the rise over the last 12 months following poor rains and increase in the cost of farm inputs. Close to 2 million Kenyans from 23 counties are starving and starvation as their crops are facing starvation as their crops and livestock die of lack of water. And in January last year, 1,000 Kenya shillings would have bought you an average of 11 food items at a cost of 883. However, last month, a consumer would only be left with 1 shilling for the same items, according to official data. And they give a breakdown on some of those items that you could purchase with that same amount of money. So, of course, Daniel, reading from this, database information, there appears to be some other factors that actually, advise how even the food pricing happens. We've not had a very good rain pattern in the country. We've not, the effects of COVID-19 and how that affected even international markets that will go down to the price of fuel, which in return will affect how food is produced. So it's a whole lot of matrix if you could look at it down there. So but Kenyans are out there and claiming and wanting this hashtag that has been trending now for a couple of days. Kenyans are right in demanding for these food prices, looking at it from the context of these other things that have to be considered right now.
Absolutely, Miriam. And of course, I understand that there has been a global economic meltdown due to the pandemic. And more specifically, when you look at it, most economies were actually at some time of dormancy, where people were not reporting to work. Production was actually all-time low, which meant there was scarcity in even production of commodities and services. And with the scarcity of such in maybe a free market economy or maybe a mixed economy, then you might experience some kind of shortage. And with the shortage, then the prices will actually have to go up. But also another thing to look out is that perhaps the global oil prices have gone up per barrel, and perhaps oil being one of the an important component of production is that it makes the prices of commodities to go up. So when global oil prices, when you look at the price of Brent, which is the UK oil, when you look at the price of the WTI, which is the US oil, they're all going up. And these are the world major economies. And without oil, Miriam, an economy cannot run, because that is a major factor of production. North Korea has been suffering under sanctions simply because its oil supply was cut by the Western powers who had imposed sanctions on North Korea. So you can imagine the implication when the global oil prices go up. It actually means that the trickle-down effect will actually affect even the third world economies, and therefore the food prices and any other commodity prices will also go up. So one thing they have to understand that across the globe, the world has been feeling some kind of inflation. Even in the US yesterday, I saw President Joe Biden actually beseeching Americans to remain calm as they look at ways and modalities to be able to sort out the crisis of inflation that is actually currently in Americans. And therefore, this is a problem that was not a creation perhaps of a certain state or maybe a certain individual or a president. It is a global effect due to COVID pandemic. But however, also Miriam, as it may be, you also have to understand that we do have problems that are actually local, that are more maybe fueling these kind of hardships in our food economy and just generally the cost of living. I was able to read yesterday Dr. Matsanga's article, and clearly, Miriam, when you look at that particular scenario, William Ruto took over the Ministry of Agriculture when they shared the government with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And under the Ministry of Agriculture, I remember him telling farmers that if they are not comfortable farming maize, they can try avocado. I remember them telling suppliers that they should not be greedy, they should lower the prices so that Kenyans should not feel high prices and all that. So these are individuals who've been manipulating prices in the Ministry of Agriculture. These are people who have been actually also importing maize from Mexico and other countries like DRC at the detriment of our farmers. These are people who have been killing our agriculture systematically, and now it is when their supporters realize that actually the cost of living and food has gone up. Miriam, I think that is a joke, because the price of food and commodities actually started to skyrocket more than 8 years ago. There is a time you could not buy 2 packets of unga at your local supermarket. There was a time some commodities would actually even lack in some of the supermarkets and food stores. Why didn't they speak at that particular time? Why didn't William Ruto offer a solution at that particular time? So, you know, these are very, very wide scope problem. First of all, affected by the global economic meltdown. And secondly, due to the corruption and the impunity of William Ruto and his cronies, first in the Ministry of Agriculture, and secondly, from the monies that they have been stealing and splashing across the country. Miriam, today, if someone comes into your neighborhood where you live and they are able to purchase maybe even the 5 houses or 3 houses that perhaps are being sold there, and for all these while the proprietors or maybe the entrepreneurs who are selling these houses are unable to sell the houses, and one person comes and buys them at a go, it will actually drive a negative impression about the economy. Someone might think that actually people are starting to have money. What will the proprietor do immediately he gets the money? He'll build other sets of houses, and this time round, he will not sell them at the same price. Rather, he will increase it, hoping that another buyer is going to come and take maybe even 10 units at go. So that is what the implication of this money that has been circulating, money of corruption. Just the other day, a man was nabbed with 237 million Kenyan shillings at JKIA. Where was that money going to? That money was not going to start an industry. That money was not going to be banked. Rather, that money was going to be spent extravagantly on the economy and the market of Kenya, where people would be given cash to do campaigns. People will be given cash to purchase 1, 2, 3 things, high-end vehicles and all that. So, Miriam, all that will make sure that the economy, the cost of living actually goes up. Because at the end of the day, we have few individuals who have more money in their hands than the rest of the people. So this is a problem which is majorly global, but also locally motivated and fueled. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, you know, we've talked about how Uganda, you know, it's food secure. The people there, you know, have enough to eat. And that is because some of the products like fertilizer are a bit cheaper there. That has to do with our tax, you know, how we tax certain items here in the country, you know, that is driving the cost of some of these things up because the fuel prices are up, and majority of what is making the fuel prices go up is the tax that has been imposed in them. Okay, and so how can we ensure that we look at some of these factors even as we seek to solve this problem of food insecurity in the country? Because food is a very important thing. You can say whatever you want, but food is a very important thing. And right now, that hashtag, I've been going through the comments, but by majority of Kenyans, of course, we know that hashtag is sponsored. And a few of Kenyans understand that, but majority don't know that that hashtag is sponsored. So they don't know whoever is behind it and whatever it is they're seeking to achieve. But there are Kenyans who are taking this so seriously that I've seen others saying, you know, we need to organize protests, we need to do this and this. So slowly it started, but if it's not really taken care of, and it might get out of control because there are you know, forces that are driving these hashtags, and a lot of Kenyans don't even realize that. So this is something that the government, Doctor, must really address before things get out of hand.
I agree with you 100%, Miriam. I am one of the few people who has been very frank on this. And I hope all the security officers or officials of this country can listen to me. And I hope all the nationals of this country can listen to me on this. George Soros, some time back, had 3-pronged approach. In 2016, I told people that by 2020, the year of our Lord, 2021, 2023, several African countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Miriam, will have collapsed. Today, I stand tall and high and proud, telling me if there are no countries that are collapsing. Mali yesterday put it very clear and said, 5 years, you give them to us, we shall come to civilian rule. And the assembly, the people endorsed. All right. George Soros, the outfit of CIA. Now, Songa, this is where you come in. That's why I told you don't finish the soup. Let's touch the chicken. Musalia Mudavadi, Barack Muruka, and another gentleman called Ewalo went to United States of America, supposedly for a visit. While in the United States of America, because Mudavadi opened up this subject of debt, but we want to find out where he also gets his money to survive this debt crisis. What is happening right now in Kenya is very simple, Miriam. It's a two-pronged approach of regime change. And as you rightly put it, I swear, two-pronged approach of regime change, unless we stop, unless the government acts fast, unless the government stands up quickly, we are in a very terrible situation. Two-pronged approach is happening. The yellow ribbon of hashtag. I am handling also another African country. And I don't want to lie people. There are some people here who undermine my words. I tell you, we shall meet each other in the streets of London when we are not in power. And we shall ask you, didn't I tell you? Take this advice and use it. The civil society, Miriam, can you tell me why the civil society in Kenya is quiet on corruption when they know very well Ruto is corrupt? Why are they not going to court to stop Ruto from going to stand as the president? Niambie, nauliza, I'm not a Kenyan, I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. Have you seen Miriam anywhere where people have gone to file an application about corruption in Kenya? The statement that you have made that something has to be done because the ordinary people have taken this very serious. The grassroots are taking the information that Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula are spreading, yet Musalia Mudavadi is on George Soros' money of Open Society Foundation, headed by George Kegoro, who is a friend of Musalia, who cannot now condemn corruption in the Ruto UDA. I do not say that all the lawyers, apart from Ogenda, most of the lawyers in Kenya have fallen into the corruption trap of making money. They support Ruto. From Harvey, Nelson Harvey, from Abda Granny Mula, who have made money corruptly. Nobody wants his money to be touched. They have joined Ruto to support a thief. If Keita, Wesonga, read what Keita said. Read what Keita said. Read what Keita said.
Yes, all right. Let me just pull it. Yes, he said that when the citizens of a nation deem them.
My production team.
Yes. When the citizens of a nation.
Start.
All right. So this is what he said, and that is Modibo Keita. that when the citizens of a nation deem their most accomplished thieves as the most electable, then they lose the right to complain when theft becomes their national creed.
Are you still there? Wesonga, we seem to have lost you.
Okay, let me go again. That is Modibo Keita. He said, when the citizens of a nation deem their most accomplished thieves as the most electable, then they lose the right to complain when theft becomes their national creed.
Miriam, you can read it once more. I'm trying to find something. I don't know why today Wesonga is not reading your own analysis. You are an English reader yourself. What happened? Miriam, the point that I'm making as we look for this thing, and production team, there are very many there, but they cannot help us. We are struggling. We are on set. You should help us. Go to my website, my post, my Facebook. That thing is there. I don't know why you can't help us. We should struggle and then become what? You are there to help us, my dear brother. But at the moment, you are not helping us. So when you see people lauding thieves, people clapping for thieves in Africa, then you know the state has reached a point of no return. In Africa at the moment, we love the thieves. We enjoy thieves. We clap for them. So Miriam, when you look at all the people in Kenya, you asked a question. You brought up something very, very important. What is going on? I tell you, what is going on in Kenya is very simple. It's very dangerous. And if we don't handle it properly, Miriam, it can blow up. I don't know whether we have our communication network this morning. Are you hearing me properly?
Yes, I can hear, and I see the whatever you're looking for. They've put it there. When the citizens,
I think we have a problem. The production should be checking and telling us all this. What's wrong, okay. Stephen? What's going on, man?
We are okay, Doc. They've put the
no, but I can't. For me. Yeah, but for me, I cannot hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are. Now I hear you, but there's something wrong with the system there. Wesonga was reading and he got stuck in the middle. Because I can see on the main video, it is not showing.
From my side.
So thank you very much. Can we take a break and see? Let's take a break, and the production team, please take a break, and we come back on that point that Miriam raised, because we are not communicating here. The system we did which is releasing the thing to the outside, is stuck. I can see it here.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe take a break. Thank you very much. Let's take a break.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to endear to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you. Conflicts in Africa have become the daily occurrence. Daily occurrences in many countries, in the sense that almost every African country, apart from the few, there is tension. One wonders where this tension at times comes from. Some of it comes from elections, a manufactured election, a disputed election results. Some come from territory. Some are terrorist-based, like that of Somalia and Boko Haram. Some are because of regime change, purely sponsored by external forces. But 95 to 96% of conflicts in Africa occur through the sponsorship of external darker forces that would like to benefit out of the spoils of war. George Soros stands as one person who has always been and will always be and shall be until the end, a man who sponsors any type of chaos, who does not follow which type of chaos he is sponsoring, as long as it is chaos that can topple a person he hates in Africa. Many African countries are undergoing this pressure, this tension, especially those that are conducting elections and whose timetable for elections seem to be coming in the near future. As a result of that, Africa stands warned. Africa must stand on alert about the external forces that want to dismember this continent and create heavens of war, create insecurity, create mirage peace that Africans have fought after 66 years of gaining political independence. It is therefore my submission that most African countries, if they don't look at what George Soros is doing, we might have a shocker one morning, one by one African country being pushed out and the leaders being pushed out of power. The events therefore in South Africa, as proved from these detailed undercover operations, they prove that George Soros indeed has a say in South African politics. And therefore, we want to urge Africans and African heads of state and their military and intelligence systems to be careful and watch on the amount of money that is being pumped into their economies, because some of the money could be George Soros money that will end up to bring public disorder in most of the African countries. Thank you very much, viewers.
Welcome back to Business Africa or Africa Business, brought to you by Punchline Africa Television. We're sorry for the technical breakdown that we had, but we are back on air. We are talking about debt, politics, and prices in Africa. We are looking as case study in Kenya, where Kenyans, most of them have created a sponsored or have been sponsored with a hashtag, lower the food prices. But the counter hashtag is lower Ruto's corruption. That is the hashtag I've created also, to lower Ruto's corruption. It is also trending in some people in quarters. I think Wesonga, you have seen it. Lower Ruto's corruption. We shall be okay. One of the ingredients that Miriam talked about in Uganda the prices are low. Taxation rates, bases are, the tax bracket is big. And the taxes in Uganda are lower than the taxes in Kenya. But who voted for this taxation? Is Ruto. He agreed. He told the people in 2020 that these taxes are very good for the government. And Mr. Ruto now turns around, stands in Meru, and says, the government, we have a crisis in debt. Stupidity. You know, there are so many things, Miriam. You know, at times when you see Ruto standing on that top of the car, telling a lie, you only need to control yourself and the heart. But surely if God was taking assessment on earth here, he could come and strike thunder to some people who tell lies. This is a man in 2020 who told the people that taxation is the best thing for this country. And now he has turned on his friend and said it is a crisis here. Let's look at the projects that that Ruto has actually mishandled in this country. And there are very many which we must show to the people. The NCPB, alikula. The fertilizer, alikula. The sugar, walikula. Arol and Kimerol, walikula. Walikula. The ADC chambers, walikula. Walikula Galana Galaru, which should be bringing food, walikula. You know who took the money there. Until the president had to come in, shift the ministers. Chelagui was the man in charge of that. Alikula, walikula pesa. The pipeline, walikula. The Kenya steamer, walikula. Who are the people who are cooling? Ruto's people. The general managers were Ruto's people from his own place. The biggest problem is Kenyans don't speak the truth. And then you turn on Uhuru Kenyatta. Munasema Uhuru Kenyatta. Wo. Chakula. Huyu Ruto alikula hiyo biti. Now he has turned around giving you handouts. And Asema, the economy is very bad. How many people? Alijenga nyumba hii. Alijenga nyumba hii kwa nini? Kwa pesa alitoa wapi? Alikula hata the nails, misumari. Ile what we call a misumari of SGR. Lorries were delivering SGR material at Ruto's house at night. What type of president are you electing? Wacha wenye wa Kenya. Wacha. Mimi I'll talk my way, I'll go home. What will he do? Is it Kenya the only place where to be? No, I can be anywhere in Africa. Tutakutana AU. Atafunga AU kweli. Huyo Ruto mwizi. This is a thief. The nails. Look at the nails. Unaiba hata the metals for constructing that house. Chinese were dropping these things at his house at 3 a.m. Lorries that were constructing. Jameni, tuambiane ukweli. Then now you are turning around because you have seen Kenyatta is very quiet, boxed in a corner. The world economy is very wrong. Everywhere the prices are high. Even in Britain, where some of us stay, where Ruto will never stay again because he's banned from staying there. In fact, he will not step there one of these days. Where Ruto? You will not step there. You are antagonizing too many people. Presidency yako itakoma hapa tu. Don't antagonize people. Some of us thought you are worth, but you are not worth. Wacha mimi nikwambie. Mimi maneno yangu sizungumza like a person who has not gone to school. It's very bad to talk a person who has gone to school who is better than you and older than you. Because we shall catch you. We know where to catch you. We know where to catch you. You are even sponsoring terrorists in South Sudan, the National Salvation Army, which is killing people in South Sudan. Where were Ruto? Hii maneno itoke wa jameni. We are fed up of keeping quiet here. Where is the money that the general from National Salvation Army, where did he leave it? He left it with Ruto in Kenya. Why should we keep quiet when the region is going in chaos? Why? Kenyatta is a president, a symbol of national unity. He cannot speak. If we don't speak, we shall be in chaos. My own country will be in chaos. When Kenya is in chaos, my country is in chaos. Voila. Telling me you don't have the money for the general who is commanding the National Salvation Army in South Sudan. Tell me, Ruto. Tell the people. Come on TV. Come on court. Take me to court and I show you the price. Wewe. Let's go to court. Kila kitu itakuja. Because one of these days, we activists don't fear. Wamutata. You are Wamutata. Wamutata, see me immediately. We want to sue this guy here. Because some Kenyans are fearing to sue him. I'll give you the material. Listen, Miriam. You Kenyans, even the people who are educated, have become foolish. This man has bewitched them with stolen money. A man like a Mudavadi. Where did he get this money? Mudavadi was almost selling the only building that the father helped him to buy in the town. Oh, he sold. He got money from Kamlesh Patel. He was selling, he was gone. Now all of a sudden he's sleeping in a hotel in Meru, waking up to pray, oh, that the economy is not good. Which economy did you? Did you do economics? You did land survey. Stick to land survey, Mudavadi, kabisa walai. You don't know anything. You will not get a vote. Uko Luya, you una vote uko. We kula pesa hizi za Museveni, pesa za Ruto, ubaki nazo. Lakini hiyo kura ya Waluya, sisi wote wiko Waluya. Tutarudi nyumbani, tutazungumza maneno, wewe Mudavadi huwezi kupata. Nyenye mkule na Wetangula hapo mshibe. How can people who are condemning corruption all of a sudden become corrupt crusaders? They are corruption crusaders themselves. How do you explain this? Is this not madness? Can you tell them the fathers who Mudavadi woke up and saw Mudavadi defending a corrupt man, that they are walking together in a uniform and their shoes their friend arrives on a helicopter. Mudavadi has got to walk on foot. Miriam, you saw those shoes. You saw those shoes. Wetangula, they still, you see, look at that photograph. He's standing. He's allowing them to ridicule themselves. He has told them what to say. But he's the one who stole the money. Who stole the money? Bring that picture of that famous picture. Bring it. Bring the picture of the farmer saying it is them when the Senate. Who brought the maize from Uganda? Who bought the maize, the green maize that got rotten? Well, that was rotten in godowns. Who? Look at the shoes. These are boys who are educated to have good shoes. Mudavadi's shoes are walking on shoes looking for votes. When the man comes with clean shoes and sits in the middle. the NCPB, the fertilizer, sukari, maji, water at Aror and Kimerol, shamba ya ADC, Galana Kalulu, Stima Plaza, Stima, pipeline, nani alikula? Uhuru alikula. Uhuru alikula kweli Mudavadi na nyenye. Why'd you become silly at this point? Surely. The prices have killed everybody across the world. The prices are high. Tuambiane ukweli. I also live in London. I pay very heavily. I pay. The Tesco, £100 is nothing. The gas, the price of gas, electricity, petrol in London is high. We have not been spared. But this is a country which is organized. So Miriam, in the submission, two-pronged worked on this country. The two prongs are working on this country. Mudavadi is in UDA to create a regime change funded by George Soros. If people don't see that, call me when the trouble starts on the streets, like the one that started in Khartoum. Can I repeat that statement? So those watching me, security officers and others who are supposed to safeguard the country, watch me. Two-pronged approach has come in UDA. Approach number one is fight for the votes, which they will lose. But when they lose, they will go to stage number two. The prices are too high. Lower the prices, we are dying, the food stuff is not available. They will bring the people on the streets and they are preparing for demonstration. Those are the points that Ruto has said, has eaten. If Ruto has no hands in this project, then I am gone. Back to you, Miriam. They are there on the show. I don't speak without facts. They are there. Who was the man who has built a base house? How do you build a palace in Kericho? Then tell people, call people to eat in a palace of stolen money. Didn't Katero tell you that 11 people is a football club of Zambia that has died? You remember the famous talk when the KPLC managers were sacked?
Very true, Dr. Matsanga. Very true.
So, if you Kenyans think I'm a madman, I have never gone to any of Mathare or Rubutabika in Uganda. And I want to take this opportunity for those who are promising me that, oh, they will return me to Uganda. Are you your mother? Are you my mother? You brought me. Did you bring me here? Did I ask you for a ticket? Or can I tell you, do I need you? You think look, you think I lack money to air ticket to go where I want? Aya, Jama, na imefanya nini? Is this the only place where there's oxygen? Wapi, wala. These idiots going on around here, they're telling people, oh, we shall turn Matsanga to Uganda when Ruto takes place. What about Ruto in prison in Uganda? He has lied to the president of the Republic of Uganda. Why can't he fly now? Me and Ruto now, who is more hated in Uganda? Ruto lied to the president, right? Ash, Miriam, I'm also a street boy. I'm very bad on that. Hey, what was it? Tisha watu? Oh, we shall take you to Uganda once Ruto gets power. You think he will get power? If you tell me like that, he will get power. Let's see. Let's see. Tutakuwa hapa tarehe 10. Hata na nyenye takuwa kwa mtandao hii niliwaambia. Mtatisha Livondo mwenye ana facts. Mimi niko na facts mingi kwa Ruto. Tena Ruto mwenyewe anajua kama ananitachi like this. Ruto could touch me like this, he will have a problem. A very big one. A man who cannot even travel to United States, any of the region, if his relative dies in Arizona, can he go there? We have been stomaching a lot of things. Ruto is banned from going from US. He can only go to UN. He can't go to United States. Watch it, tuambie leo. If Uhuru is fearing to tell you, let's tell you. The song is sharp, pick up the fight.
Absolutely, Dr. Matsanga. And of course, this country has seen very many turbulent times. And these are the same people who are stealing from government. They are still the same people who are calling for citizens of this country to go on the streets. And that's why I think anyone who thinks that William Ruto is a solution to the current problems that we are having right now as a country, then they are very, very much disillusioned. Because this is the same man who has been talking about Kimwarera and Rotterdam not losing 21 billion, but only 7 billion. If we had those dams, Dr. Matsanga, we would be having people in Kerio Valley doing irrigation. Why don't we have the dams now? This is the same person who was actually importing maize so that farmers produce rots in their farms. This is the same person who increased the prices of the fertilizer. The other time he was explaining why it is good to increase these taxes. And he was telling retailers and other business people to only increase by 8%, which he gave an example that if you're buying a commodity, did not start yesterday. It was there when Rotich was the Minister of Finance. It was there when Koskei was the Minister or the CS for Agriculture, and the Deputy President was in charge of those ministers that he's brought into the cabinet to be able to work together with President Uhuru Kenyatta, together with his 50% as well. So I believe, Dr. Matsanga, these are the same people who have been bringing trouble to the people of Kenya. These are the same people who have been looting from the dockets that should be working to ensure cereals and produce board. And even at one time, he encouraged farmers to desist from maize farming and concentrate on avocado, whereas he was farming thousands of acres of maize in Congo, Brazzaville. So to me, I believe these are very hypocritical individuals. Musalia Mudavadi himself, as the Minister of Finance, he was the one who raised the pay-as-you-earn tax by 500%. He's the same person through Goldenberg who was able to bring in a lot of money which was looted, and the economy, the inflation hit the country and almost collapsed.